Great. So next we hear from Kumiko Mendl from Yellow Earth Theatre in conversation with Kazuko Hohki of Frank Chickens, talking about Tsunagu project.
Yeah, which is this fantastic project, you know, where they're trying to uncover the voices. Well, we'll leave most of the explanation to them, but they're trying to uncover these voices of Japanese women who have been living in the UK for 10 years or more.
That's right.
You know, from people like Kazuko, who's obviously done amazing things with Frank Chickens, who we'll see in Uramatsuri at the end, which is amazing. So stick around for Uramatsuri at the
Coming
end.
Up.
But also just, you know, just people. Everyone has their story, right? So, you know, people who might feel like, well, I don't have anything to tell. You do.
Yes.
So, you know, it's a fantastic project and it's very worthwhile, and we're going to hear from them just shortly.
Absolutely. And if you get inspired by this conversation, get in touch with Yellow Earth. They would love to hear from you if you've lived in the UK as a Japanese woman, and they would like to interview you and find out more about how you've led your life in the UK. So we're going to go over to the video. Enjoy.
What's the reason to come up with this idea?
Well, I suppose it's been something I've been thinking about for quite a number of years. I was really aware that there's very little information or anything about Japanese women who are living in this country. You don't see them in the media, you don't see them on television necessarily. You know, in terms of, I suppose, visibility, I didn't really know much about stories from these women. And my mother, she came over in the 50s, and, you know, of her generation and beyond, there's very little known. And I think that's what drove me to, and I was really interested in what the stories might be, because I think there's also a lot of preconceptions and stereotypes around Japanese women, you know, that they're sort of very demure or submissive, or or just housewives and you know, model mothers. But I think there's a lot more than that, and I wanted to sort of find out.
Yes. Yeah, you called me, and you invited me, and then I was very excited, because this project might reveal something which I'm a very big part of it. And I have a group called Frank Chickens, in which I meet with 20 or so Japanese women, and now it's because we expanded from duet to now such a big group. And I always feel like very comfortable meeting with them, and there's something I find, you know, Japanese women who live in England has something sort of in common we can share, instantly share, like as if we belong to the same club where Japanese women in England. And I thought with this project we can find out something about what's behind this club mentality, and why we are all here. And so it's all very connected to me being here, and so I think I think that's one of the themes, isn't it? Connection. It's about how we connect to each other, how you're connecting with your fellow Japanese women, how I connect to my mother's generation, but also how, you know, Japanese women connect to wider society. What is it like to be a Japanese woman living in the UK now? Yes. And also, I was particularly interested, I suppose, in the post-war generation, you know, post-Second World War. What were the experiences for women who were coming, you know, early on in those times, in the 50s and 60s? Yeah, because I suppose the Frank Chickens community, and also like the women who I meet, is like all kind of having they had a chance to sort of escape from Japan. They could come here and they could live here, but much older generations, how they managed, like that, it's a mystery and no transport even, like they didn't have airplane. And I was very interested in hearing that, how they managed, that's how they survived, all that, which might give us some guidance how we can survive.
It's true.
Yes,
but also I think, and this is an opportunity really to collect and to find those stories, and we're doing it through oral history interviews. So, you know, we've been really fortunate to get some funding from the Heritage Lottery Fund, and so we brought volunteers together when we had that launch in January at the Museum of London.
Yeah.
They've been very supportive, and we're working with the Japan Society as a partner to really reach out and find who these women, and it could be anybody.
Yeah.
So we're not necessarily interested in people who've made a name for themselves here at all, but
no.
just actually that the hidden side, I suppose, that community that you talked about, you know, the Frank chickens. I don't know much about them. I'd love to find out more.
And listening to those interviews, like, I mean, they are not famous, or we not instantly we know their names and their lives, but all those people who I was very inspired. Everybody has something which, you know, something which they had to overcome. It's not big, it's like some, in the older generation, they had to overcome the lack of the airplane to start with. But even the younger generation, some of them living here in different culture and different language, and they had to overcome something, and it's just very fascinating.
Yeah, in many ways they're like pioneers, I think, because so many came over and didn't know anyone living here. So I think, you know, having an opportunity to collect those stories or hear those stories and then turning it into some kind of performance for the public is what we're going to do, which is really exciting. You know, as artists, we want to. I'm very keen on bringing these stories to a wider audience, and through that we'll be doing that with the exhibition. And there's also part of the project where we're going to be involving younger people. So first, second generation will be interviewing their mothers or grandmothers through and they're going to be working with a film company to learn how to do interviewing and using their mobile phones to interview. So that will be part of an exhibition.
Yeah.
Their footage will be edited, be part of the exhibition, and then that will be alongside the performance that we do.
Very universal thing, isn't it? Because now globalization is happening and all that. Everybody's like traveling or settling in different country, and if we can show some kind of insight of that, how we can do that mixing and cohabiting in a same space, how if we can show something that it's be quite very useful, I think. Hope so.
I hope so too. And then I suppose we've also we're doing it not just in London as well, so we're trying to really reach out to women across the UK. And I think in terms of where the legacy of this project, I suppose, I was thinking, you know, it's wonderful that the Museum of London have been so interested and supportive about this project, and they're really keen for us to give them the oral history, so it becomes part of their oral history collection. And they're also moving to a new museum, you know, a whole new building in Smithfield with I've seen some of the plans, it's really exciting. And so it'd be wonderful to have a presence there with the exhibition that we do and with the performance.
And I hope there should be artistic legacy too, because like a show which we are going to make, we hope, you know, has an artistic quality as well as this sociological value.
Yeah, and we're going to be working with some AR, which is really exciting. Augmented reality.
I hope, yes.
Don't forget that bit, but that's a really another interesting layer. But there's something about going into this, you know, going imaginatively into people's lives, and the sort of the distance between sort of public facing life, you know, what we see on the surface, and then the sort of inner domestic, maybe hidden life.
And technology can help, like this linking this, isn't it?
To the imaginative side of things and to the emotional world. Yeah. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. And new technology. How can people get in touch with us?
So if they send an email to Tsunagu at yellowearth.org.uk, that would be great. And we're still interviewing at the moment, so we'd love to hear from more people.
Yes, more people.
And basically anyone who's been here for more than 10 years.
Right.
So, and living and working here.
Yes.
So as you've just heard, if you were interested or got inspired by what you just heard from Kumiko and Kazuko, please do get in touch and share your stories.